It's time for another full day of college basketball from Las Vegas, and the Washington State women's basketball team is set to take the floor for the first time in the 2025 WCC Tournament after getting the number 3 seed and the triple bye into the quarterfinals after a fantastic regular season from the Cougars. And tonight they are set to take on the University of the Pacific Tigers. And hello and welcome. I'm Davis Hagen alongside the Josiah Frank, and we are thrilled to have you with us for another presentation of WCC Conference Tournament basketball on KUGR. Josiah, this should be a fantastic matchup between the 3 seed and the 7 seed. Getting to see Washington State women's team for the first time in this tournament. What are we excited to see today in this matchup?
Yeah, absolutely, Davis. We are so excited to finally get to watch not only some more Cougar basketball, but look at the women's side of things. Davis, before even that, though, I've got to mention how electric and how exciting this tournament has been over the past couple of days. Right before this game, a buzzer beater win, Oregon State beating San Francisco by 2 at the buzzer. And that's just kind of been the old tale of the entire tournament so far. But looking at the WSU women, we cannot wait for this great matchup and see Tara Wallach and the rest of the squad compete in this great game.
Yeah, Washington State, the number 3 seed, Pacific, the number 7 seed, and it's time to take a look at the Washington State starting lineups, led by Tara Wallach, the senior leader for this Washington State team. Eleanor Avila, Esther Tahina, Diana Mendez, and Jenna Villa round out that starting lineup. But Josiah, Tara Wallach, the first-team All-WCC player, averaging 13.2 points this year. What does she bring to the table for the Washington State Cougars?
Yeah, I think she brings a lot, Davis. Tara Wallach, the lone senior, the captain of this team. And, that's a hard thing in itself so far, trying to lead a team when you're really by yourself and you're with a ton of young players. Looking at the other side of the roster, Eleanor Avila, she's a sophomore. Tahina, she's also a sophomore. Mendez is a true freshman. Jenna Villa, also a sophomore. So I think senior leadership, senior experience is so valuable in a game like this one. And Tara Wallach has not only done that with her play off the court, but especially on the hardwood as well. She's averaging 13.2 a game, and she has been playing extremely great, and we expect to see that again in this first appearance for WSU in this WCC tournament.
Let's take a look at the Pacific starters. This is the opponent for Washington State in their first matchup. Pacific has played a couple of games in this tournament already, and they're coming off a little bit hot, and their star watch today is Liz Smith, the second-team All-WCC player. And then that steal stat we've got on this page, 79 steals, 17th nationally. Josiah, that is a stat that stood out to you in our preparation for this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to talk about Liz Smith, the guard, number 24, 5'9". She's hailing from Dallas, Texas, and she is not only an offensive weapon. Her season high is actually 30 points, but that's not what we're looking at today. We're looking at her defensive capabilities when it comes to stealing the basketball. She has 79 total steals across the regular season, and not only does that lead the WCC in steals, that's actually 17th nationally in the country. So she's a defensive weapon, and you have to take care of the basketball, especially if you are around Liz Smith.
It should be a really good matchup between these two starting lineups, and then the benches are also going to be a big factor in this game. Anaya James, Marina Ratikai, Sydney Ward, Elizabeth Elliott, and Liz Smith are the starters for the Pacific Tigers. And Josiah, the keys to the game for Washington State, the first one, time off. What does that mean?
Yeah, I think time off. WSU has had tons of time and break, just because of how well they played in the regular season. But, that can also maybe be a hindrance as well. We're hoping maybe not too much time off can play a factor to this game. Looking at Pacific side of things, they actually just played yesterday. So we will see how time will play a factor.
Yeah, and then the other key to the game is post play, with Alex Colville coming maybe back into the lineup. She's been injured a little bit this year, and hopefully she'll be ready to go for this game. But post play is going to be a big factor in this game.
Yeah, looking at Alex Colville, she's standing at 6'6", but she had been hurt for about a couple weeks now, and she's making her first appearance in a couple of weeks. So we will see how she can kind of translate, and she's actually on the bench right now, started a ton of games early into the season before that injury, but she's going to come in for Mendez, and we'll see how kind of that senior as well, how the center will kind of play with her 6'6" height, and no one on the Pacific roster can compete with that.
Yeah, and the last key to the game, control possession, with Liz Smith being a master of thieves in a way. How does Washington State control possession and control the ball and not turn it over against the Tigers?
Yeah, they got to take care of the basketball. I mean, that sounds a lot easier said than done, but especially around someone like Liz Smith, who is extremely fast, extremely quick, and can not only steal the ball, she can actually score the basketball as well. You know, she has 30, and she's also averaging 14.4 points a game. She's the leading scorer as well, so everybody's talking about her defensive capabilities, but when she steals the basketball, she might be able to score it on the other end as well.
Washington State trying to accomplish these three keys to the game and get the win and take on Portland tomorrow. The Portland Pilots getting the number 2 seed with the second best record. The number 1 seed in the women's side of the WCC is the Gonzaga Bulldogs. But Washington State good enough to get the 3 seed with a 14-6 conference record. And we are about ready to get going for this WCC quarterfinal between the women's Washington State team and the women's Pacific team. It should be a fantastic matchup. We've got Diana Mendez and Marina Ratikai to tip things off for Pacific and Washington State. We're underway, and Washington State has control of the first possession. And here we go. We'll see where they start. If they go underneath to Tara Wallach, the senior leader for Washington State, or if they try to get something else going. It's down to Mendez, outside on the elbows. Jab step, pump fake, out to Estera Tahina. Number 11, Washington State wearing the all grays. Elbow pull-up jumper, no good. And a rebound for Pacific. And the Tigers wearing the all orange with the black trim. Washington State in the anthracite grays. Fantastic uniform matchup in this one. A lot of great colors in the WCC conference in general. This is Liz Smith dicing to the lane, and she gets fouled on her way. It's going to go against Washington State. Elevia picks up the foul, and Josiah, foul trouble has been not necessarily the worst thing for Washington State, but in this tournament so far, in the couple of games, especially on the men's side, we've seen a lot of fouls get racked up, trying to avoid getting into major foul trouble early. Nia James inside, and she scores with the right hand. Then when Pacific has the first bucket of the game, and they take the early lead against Washington State 2-0.
And Nia James, one of the trio of Pacific players that got WCC All-Conference honors.
And a steal for Pacific. It was not Liz Smith, but she ended up with it. She's got it on the far side. Bounce pass into the lane. Sydney Ward gets bumped, and she gets fouled. And so Washington State with another foul, or will the ball just be out of bounds? And it's just going to go out of bounds for Washington State. No foul called on the play. So they're going to send both teams to the bench.
Yeah, it looks like one official's signaling for maybe a foul, and they're going to go to the scores table and try to figure it out.
Yeah, a little bit of confusion on that play. There was definitely a whistle blown, and it looked like the ball got knocked out of the arms of Sydney Ward, who was driving in, but Washington State yet to score in this game. Just a minute through, 2-0 Pacific has the lead. They did turn it over on that last possession, and that's going to be something to watch. We talked about it in the open. The keys to the game, Liz Smith getting those steals. If she can come through and poke it away from Washington State, that'll allow Pacific to get more possessions. Washington State has to do a good job of holding onto the ball, and they can't turn it over to anyone else because Liz Smith will get her number of steals that she averages. So trying to avoid, it's almost like on the offensive side when a player is going to get their average and you don't let anyone else score, you can't allow other people to come in and steal the ball as well.
Yeah, absolutely. She's averaging 4 steals a game, and that's kind of an absurd amount of steals, but, just a very dangerous part of her game. So, cannot let her let up, and we'll see if there is a foul on that ground. The official's still kind of reviewing it.
Yeah, they're looking, and we can see the monitor in front of us on the ESPN broadcast. Nia James kind of raised her right arm up into the face of Tara Wallach, so they're trying to see if it's maybe an unnecessary basketball play for Pacific. On the offensive side, maybe. We saw Andy Okafor last night get ejected from the Washington State men's game, and he is eligible to play. We'll be calling that game later tonight, San Francisco and Washington State at 8:30, or at 8 o'clock. Every game today is pushed up 30 minutes, a little bit interesting for the scheduling, and then it goes right back to normal tomorrow. But we're still under review from Orleans Arena, and hopefully going to get a call soon. The refs are huddled in a triangle formation out on the far side of the court. And it looked like the arm got up into the face, so it's kind of maybe an offensive foul. Maybe they upgrade it to a possible flagrant one to try to keep the tempers low early in this game. Almost just a minute exactly into this game.
Yeah, I mean, we're so early in this game, and they're taking a ton of time to try to discuss the foul on the ground, or if there is a foul at all. But yeah, that usually when they talk that long, it's usually not just a common foul. They're maybe discussing if it was, intentional or something that was not trying to be a basketball play.
Pacific just up 2-0. We're only a minute into this game and already a stoppage. Yesterday's game took a long time for the men's team in that later stages. There's a lot of timeouts and stuff. In that Oregon State Pepperdine game, so many timeouts. The coaches take those timeouts right before the media timeout, and then it just kind of doubles up in the time. So a stoppage early. Referees going over to Washington State's huddle to try to decide what they want. If they are going to get informed of what the call is. Kimmy Etheridge, the head coach for Washington State, just got extended, as well as David O'Reilly, before the end of this regular season. And we're getting the call to the ESPN broadcasters, and here it is. So they're going to get 2 shots for Washington State and get the ball back after the foul on Pacific. So it looks like they did indeed upgrade it to a potential flagrant 1 foul with the elbow to the chin of Tara Wallach. And it's actually the left arm gets right up into the chin of Tara Wallach. Anaya James gets called for flagrant foul, and Estera Tahina will step to the free throw line for Washington State with the first chance to put a point on the board. 2-0 Pacific, 1 minute gone. Estera Tahina from Kosovo will shoot the free throw. And here we go. She'll have the ball at the free throw line. Couple of bounces on the hardwoods. Spins it in the hand and fires it away. And it's in for Washington State for their first point of the WCC tournament. Getting the triple bye to the quarterfinals. We talked about it in the open. If there's going to be a little maybe rest versus rust kind of factor. Only a minute in, and they have tied the game. Tahina makes both free throws off the flagrant foul, and they will get the ball back. 2-2 the score with 1 minute gone. Tahina will inbound right in front of us to Villa, and here we go. Back underway after that temporary hiatus. Villa's got it on the top of the key. Dribble handoff to Tahina. Left side to Tara Wallach. Working around the perimeter for Washington State. 15 seconds to shoot. Tahina looking down low. Good cut from Ellie Villa to get inside. And Dinah Mendez flashes her hands, and she gets the ball and shoots it in fouled inside. And she'll go to the free throw line for 2. See, this foul is on for Pacific.
Yeah, she fell hard. Kind of got clobbered a little bit on that foul. She's going to go to the line.
Elliott picks up the foul for the Pacific Tigers. Mendez to the free throw line. Her free throw is off the left side of the rim and no good. So the score is still 2-2. Fantastic freshman for Washington State, Diana Mendez. Free throw is good. So Washington State has the lead 3-2 over Pacific. An overall 19-12 record for Washington State. Pacific's overall record 15-17. Inside, Pacific going down low, and a turnaround shot good for Elizabeth Elliott, who just picked up the foul, and she scores. And it's 4-3. Tigers have the lead. Tahina will race the ball up the floor for Washington State. Just over 8 minutes to play. Mendez left elbow. Kick it out to L.A. Villa. Gets a screen from Mendez. Driving hard into the lane with the left hand. Kick it to the corner. Tahina, wide open three-pointer from the corner. Airballed it, but an offensive rebound for Washington State. L.A. Villa in the right corner. Out to Tara Wallach. Driving in, spinning to the right hand. Sidestep, kick it out. Diana Mendez, three-pointer on the way. Back rim, no good. And a rebound fought for Pacific, trying to save it. Tahina ends up with it and scores inside for Washington State. And they take the lead right back. Great placement from Tahina. Right place, right time. Elliott down low, kick it out. Mendez gives it to Ward. Here's Liz Smith, the player we highlighted. This is James with the jumper. That's off the mark, and here comes Washington State on a quick outlet rebound. Tahina bringing it up the floor for Washington State. Kick it to Jenna Villa, top of the key. Thought about a three, now fires away. Three-pointer's good, Jenna Villa. 8-4 Washington State. That was a deep three from Villa, about 3 or 4 feet behind the three-point arc for Washington State. They have doubled up the Pacific's lead, and a turnover for the Tigers. Here comes Washington State back the other way. Via top of the key to Diana Mendez inside. Out to Wallach. Thought about driving right hand, but she gets stonewalled by the Pacific defense. Going against Radikai. Inside to Mendez. Ball swatted away, and a turnover for Washington State. And here comes Ania James the other way for the Tigers. Pull up three straight away. That's good for Pacific. And it's a lead cut down to 1 for Washington State.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth action for both teams. I wanted to highlight Jenna Villa's three. She's definitely not accustomed to shooting those long threes.
Mendez inside, up and under move off the back of the rim, and Pacific gets the rebound. And Nia James races, firing another three. Pull up, transition jumper once again. Pacific knocks down another three-pointer in the lead. Back to the Tigers, 10-8. Back and forth start to this one in the first quarter. Just over 6 minutes to go. Wallach outside, looking for a screen with Mendez. Going left, down to the baseline, behind the back, fighting her way into the paint. Spin move, fires with the right hand, left it short. Offensive rebound, Wallach. And she traveled after the offensive rebound. And it's a turnover for Washington State once again.
Yeah, great job of following her shot on that play. But, once she grabbed her own rebound, she spun first and put a couple feet on the ground and then put that pound dribble on the floor. If you got to grab it, you got to put that pound dribble first, and then you can move afterwards. But yeah, you're going to get that call every time from the officials.
Alex Colville will check into the game. One of the best players as far as blocks go in the country. Top 5 in that statistic. Liz Smith to the elbow. The newly checked in Lauren Glazer for the Pacific Tigers. Lauren Glazer's 6'4", so 6'6" and 6'4" going at it. Liz Smith to the free throw line, guarded by the Colville, and somehow she gets over the top of the 6'6" Colville.
Barely gets it over.
Yeah, that was a tough shot. A big wingspan of Colville, and she gets it inside and answers with a left hand. Little baby hook inside, and an excellent shot from Alex Colville. So she's on the board in this quarterfinal matchup. 12-10 Pacific with the advantage. Liz Smith on the far side gets bumped by Ellie Villa. And a foul called on Washington State. Second team foul, and both of them have been called on Ellie Villa. So we'll see if she will go to the bench. Charlotte Abraham will head to the scores table to come in for Ellie Villa. And so that will take out the Italian for Washington State, who is the leading scorer this season for the Washington State Cougars.
Yeah, foul trouble has been a problem for every team, and would not like to see her rack up those fouls super early, and 2 already in this first quarter is kind of rough.
Nia James, who's knocked down those 2 transition threes. She's going to try one from the top of the key. Right rim, no good. Colville trying to go in for the rebound, and it gets knocked out of bounds by Glazer, and it'll go back to Washington State. So a good job by Washington State to hold Pacific to no points off that three-pointer from James, who's been a lethal three-point shooter so far. 2-point advantage for Pacific. 5 minutes to play in the first quarter of play. This is Tahina on the right side. Dribble handoff to Tara Wallach. Good cut from Wallach on a give and go, and she scores right hand off the glass and in. 4:45 to go.
Wallach just great job of scoring off the ball. Right now, she's being one of the leading scorers for the Cougs. They're kind of taking her time and scoring easily with that lay.
Liz Smith outside for Pacific, looking for somewhere to go. Finds James. Couple of three-pointers already for James. Liz Smith in the corner, jabs against Abraham. Corner three-pointer, back rim, no good. Washington State gets the rebound. Colville races over to get it. Quickly the other way to Hina. Bounce pass inside to Jenna Villa. Fighting for the ball off the miss, and it's a rebound for Pacific. And Nia Lowry also into the game for Pacific for the first time in this matchup against Washington State. Liz Smith will get the ball, races to the cup. Left hand floater, no good. Offensive rebound. Glazer and Pacific still has it. James ducks inside with the floater, and it gets the roll off the front of the rim, over the top and in. And Pacific extends a lead to 2 after it got tied by Washington State. Villa, hard drive down on the right side, missed the shot. Another rebound for Pacific. Washington State just one and done multiple times in this first quarter of play. Under 4 minutes to play, 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go. James step in, and mid-range jumper is good. Ania James, lethal shooter for Pacific so far, and it's a 16-12 lead.
Yeah, she already has 10 early into this game. And, you're looking at Liz Smith, who's actually the leading scorer, but right now it is all James.
Tahina left side, screen from Colville. Pump fake. Back out to Wallach, top of the key. She didn't like what she saw. 10 seconds to shoot for the Cougars. Jenna Villa still outside. Coville will tap it back to her. Swing pass for Wallach. She's going to try her hands. Right hand dribble drive. And she travels in the lane. Washington State continues to turn it over on the offensive side. And we're going to get the first media timeout of the game. 16-12. 3 minutes and 8 seconds to go. And they're going to bring everybody back. So maybe we won't actually get the first media timeout of the half. And they are going to bring everybody back. And Etheridge is saying that they wanted it, but they're not going to get it. She had her clipboard ready to go for the timeout. Washington State headed everybody. They're bringing the chairs out, the stools halfway onto the floor. The managers are going to have to bring it back. And so 3:08 to go, and we're going to stay right here. 3 minutes and change remaining. Radikai on the outside. Yet to get going for Pacific. And a foul is going to be called down low off the ball as Liz Smith was driving without the ball, trying to cut free with Charlotte Abraham bumping into her. So third foul on Washington State, but the first player other than Villa to pick up a foul. Smith will inbound for the Tigers from the baseline. Quick inbound to Radikai, going against Wallach. Backing up to Liz Smith, top of the key for Pacific. Screen by Jamie Kent. Three-pointer off the left side of the rim. Offensive, defensive rebound for Coville. And there's a lot of Pacific players, but Coville just towering above everyone. Easy rebound for Washington State. And it's a good screen set by Jamie Kent, who's into the game for the first time for Pacific. But ultimately, Washington State clears the boards. Under 3 minutes to play. 16-12 advantage Pacific. Washington State trying to get something going on offense. They're on a 2 minute and 10-second scoring drought. Abraham left block. Kick it out to Coville. Short corner jumper. That's not her range, and she missed the shot short. 2:25 remaining. Radikai, quick run out for Pacific. Into the corner, Lowry. Jumper in the middle of the lane. That doesn't fall for her. Elliott gets the offensive rebound. Blocked by Coville. And Washington State off and running. And that's what Coville's in there for, with the defensive blocks and then get her the ball down low. Abraham with the left-hand floater in the lane. That's good. Cut to lead to 2. 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter of play. Washington State finally ends that scoring drought of over 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, Charlotte Abraham, one of the quintet, 5 people from WSU getting WCC honors as a freshman.
Kent will drive hard right side against Wallach. Picked up her dribble at the block. Tahina gets a steal. One-on-one against Liz Smith. One of the better defenders in the country, really. Tahina's going to fire a three-pointer off the rim and a rebound for Pacific. And it seemed like Tahina didn't want to challenge Liz Smith. She pulled up for a 3. Smith is going to challenge Tahina, though. Left arm layup, and she got it blocked out of bounds by Washington State. Diana Mendez and Marta Alcina will check in for Washington State. A couple new players for Pacific as well. Anaya James and Sydney Ward checking in for the Tigers. So a couple new players for each side, but Washington State seems like maybe a little timid going against Liz Smith.
Very timid as well.
James will inbound for Pacific on the baseline. Get it into Ward, back to James, guarded by Martha Alcina, the Spaniard for Washington State in her first season as a Coug. Back out to Sydney Ward, driving it in. Picked up her dribble, and she might have got poked in the face. James will drive in hard, and she'll get the right-hand floater to go. 18-14, Pacific with the lead, just over a minute to play. Quick outlet. Kira Gardner into the game for Washington State, as well as those 2 substitutions when they came in. She came in a little bit later than them, but she still got into the game. Wearing number 12 in the anthracite jersey. Mendez, free throw line, guarded by Elliott. Jabbing, looking for somewhere to go. Spinning inside, left-hand layup, fouled, and she'll go to the line for 2. The shot completely missed the backboard, but she got hacked. 51.4 seconds remaining. It's a 4-point lead for Pacific.
Yeah, second time she's gotten kind of clobbered down there on the post. If she can continue to go to the line, that's just easy free throws, and it allows WSU to just keep this game closer and closer and maybe retake that lead.
Mendez at the free throw line for Washington State. Trying to cut this lead down. And it's cut down to 3 with the first free throw good for Diana Mendez. The French native for Washington State. A lot of international flavor on this team.
A ton.
Free throw is good for Mendez. 18-16. Washington State cut it to 2. Pacific back the other way. Lowry on the outside. Left hand dribble drive to the free throw line. Worked it out the perimeter with James. On the left wing, holding it overhead. Dumps it inside to Elliott, spinning to the left hand, fade away with the right, and she scores somehow over the top of Mendez. That was a great offensive move. Under 30 seconds to play, so the shot clock is off. 20-16 Pacific in front of Washington State. Kind of a surprise first quarter with the 7 seed and the 3 seed going at it in the quarterfinals. 15 seconds remaining. Tahina's going to drive down the right side baseline. Pull-up jumper is good. Little floater for Destera. Tahina about 8 feet away. 5 seconds remaining. Anaya James races down the floor. Dribble drive, left hand off the glass, and no good. Mendez rebounds, and that will end the first quarter of play. 20-18, Pacific has the lead. What a first quarter by Washington State and Pacific. Back and forth game, but the Tigers have the lead over the Washington State Cougars by just 2 points. We're going to take a break and be back for the second quarter of play in this WCC quarterfinal. You're listening to Washington State basketball on KUGR. Twenty to 18, Pacific leads Washington State at the end of the first quarter in this high-intensity quarterfinal between Washington State and Pacific. Story of the game so far, Anaya James, 14 points in just the first quarter.
Yeah, Anaya James, I mean, she is definitely heated up. She averages 12 a game. First quarter, now she's got 14. And that's kind of been a testament for tons of players throughout the WCC tournament, both on the men's and women's side. We'll see if that can continue with the start of the second.
Entry pass to Radikai to start the second quarter. Right-hand hook shot, no good. Jean Hugh into the game as well for Washington State. She gets the rebound, and she is a quick player for Washington State. She is so fast, and especially down courtside, she is just even quicker than you could ever imagine. Alcina will lob it into Mendez, couldn't handle the pass, and it's a turnover for Washington State going the other way. Dribble drive down low, Lowry, reverse layup, no good. Mendez hits the floor really hard, and a foul's going to be called on Elliott on the rebound. The shoe flew off for Diana Mendez.
Yeah, they've been kind of just jumping in the air, and people have been hitting hard on the hardwood, and it looks to be Radikai. She's kind of arguing a little bit with one of the officials. She's a little fired up.
Yeah, so a big contact foul. And Liz Smith back into the game. Jean Chu dribbling it up for Washington State down the right sideline. Kira Gardner will swing it. A lot of bench players except for Diana Mendez into the game for Washington State. 4 out of the 5 out there coming off the bench. Alcina will drive in, kick it out to Chu. Dribble drive, thought about it. He just has that ball on a string. Dribble drive to the free throw line. Hard to the right side of the basket. Got the shot blocked. And Pacific will go the other way. Tigers have done a really good job limiting the opportunities for Washington State to one and done. Only 4 offensive rebounds for Washington State so far. You'd think with their height ability on the inside, they'd have a couple of more. Liz Smith will drive hard to the left side. Short corner jumper on the way. Kira Gardner will sky for the rebound. Great rebound by Kira Gardner. 20-18, Washington State still down by 2. Abraham's going to drive left hand, gets that shot blocked. And Pacific will run again. Gardner will deflect this pass from James, who's really having a sensational game so far. Top of the key, straightaway three-pointer for James. Back rim, no good. Chu gets the rebound. And here comes Washington State. Alcina on the right side. Flip it to Gardner. Thought about it. Inside to Mendez. Right-hand floater rattles home for Washington State, and the game is tied at 20 apiece. Under 8 minutes to play in the second quarter.
Mendez has just gotten so much better throughout the season, especially in her post-work game. And just that right-handed floater was great right there.
Alcina almost blocked the shot, but a foul is going to be called as James went to the cup for Pacific. Marta Alcina will pick up the foul, and 3 new Cougars heading into the game. Coville, Wallach, and Tahina will check in, with Abraham, Mendez, and Chu coming out for Washington State. And it'll be Anaya James at the free throw line for Pacific. 9-11 in conference this season. That was good enough to get the number 7 seed. First free throw missed for James, and the score still tied at 20 apiece. 7:46 remaining in this game. James' second free throw is right down Broadway, and it's 21-20. Pacific with the lead. Wallach into the game for Washington State, the player we highlighted at the start. Only 2 points so far for Washington State's senior leader. Tahina, dribble drive. Thought about it, now back out to Wallach. She's going to try it. Right hand, inside, spinning to the left, and she traveled again. Multiple travels by Tara Wallach in this game, and Washington State turns it over again, and Kami Etheridge not happy about it.
Yeah, 3 travels for her, and Davis, I don't know what you saw in that play. I don't know if she's maybe picking up that pivot foot when she goes into that kind of half spin that she does, but that's 3 consecutive travels for her.
Inside, Pacific going down low to Ward. And a 3 in the key going to be called on the Tigers. Ball will go back to Washington State. The 1-point deficit for the Cougars, playing in their first game of the tournament so far, and it seems like Pacific has had some momentum carrying over from their win yesterday against St. Mary's. Alcina, flip it to Tahina. Right side, underneath the basket, kick it to the corner. Kira Gardner, three-pointer is good for Washington State. 23-21, they take the lead back from Pacific. Up by 2 points. 6:45 to go in the second quarter. Here's Glazier out to the corner. This is a 3-pointer for Lowry. Missed the shot and a rebound for Gardner. Washington State with the ball once again. Gardner got the ball deflected, but back into her hands. 6.5 minutes remaining. Washington State just took that lead on the last shot by Gardner. Tahina, top of the key, good pass to Coville inside, right-hand layup, gets the roll. What a fantastic offensive play for Washington State. 25-21, great cut from Coville. James sizing up Alcina, right wing. Shake and bake into the key. Flips it to Glazier. Almost lost it. Back out to James, guarded by Martha Alcina. This is an interesting matchup between Alcina and James. Free throw line jumper for James. She got free, and you can't allow her any sort of space, especially today when she is just on an absolute heater. 25-23. Washington State still in front, but that's 17 points for James. Tahina still driving on that right side, trying to get under the basket. She's done it multiple times, and she falls down, loses the ball, and Sydney Ward ends up with it for Pacific, and another turnover from Washington State. James transition three-pointer straight away. Missed that shot off the rim, but she is really feeling it. She is not going to cool off anytime soon. She's just so confident.
Yeah, she's red hot. That was kind of a heat check for her. 17, and we're midway through the second quarter.
Washington State working around the outside. Alcina splits into the lane. Good pass to Colville inside, and the 6'6" big player for Washington State scores, and they got a 4-point advantage over Pacific.
Alex Colville just doing a great job. 6 points for her. She's 3 for 4 from the field. The exception with that very long two, but everything within the paint, within the key has been great. Would love to see her use that height even more to the advantage against Pacific.
27-23. Washington State in front of Pacific. We'll take a break and be back for the rest of the second quarter. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. Only 3 players have scored for the Pacific Tigers. They're down by 4 to Washington State. The Cougars have weathered the storm from James. She's got 17 points. Elizabeth Elliott's got 4, and then Liz Smith just with 2, and Josiah. Liz Smith, the player we highlighted in the open, she averages 14, only 2 points so far for the Pacific Tigers against Washington State.
Yeah, not only that, she has 2 right now. But she hasn't recorded a steal yet either on the stat sheet as well. She's averaging 4 of those, 17th in the country.
And Liz Smith will immediately drive to the cup, and she gets fouled on the shot, so she'll go to the free throw line. And just as we're talking about her, she rises down to the lane. And she'll go to the free throw line. She averages 14 points on the year, but when we were highlighting her in the open, that wasn't what we were talking about. We're talking about the defensive side, and yet to get a steal is kind of a big thing for Washington State, even though they already have 7 turnovers in this half.
Yeah, Elliott also averaging 14 as well, and she only has 4, and we are at the exact midpoint of the second quarter.
Smith's free throw is good, so she's up to 3 points. 27-24. Washington State still in front of the Tigers. 7 seed Pacific, 3 seed Washington State. Smith's free throw is no good. Rebound, Alcina. Washington State playing in their first game of the tournament so far, trying to avoid going one and done on the tournament. 4:50 to play, up by 3 against Pacific. Second quarter. Alcina bounce pass to Wallach. Elbow jumper, wide open, splash. 29-24.
That's Wallach's 4th point of the night. You know, being one of those leading scorers, I think she's going to maybe try to start and heating up for the Cougs.
Inside, James with the right hand. Good lob pass by Elliott to James. 19 for number 3 in all orange. Wallach, entry pass to Colville. Right block, gets pushed out by Elliott and then loses the ball out of bounds. Then she falls down. And it's a turnover for Washington State. Once again, their 8th of the game.
Yeah, usually thinking about turnovers, it's kind of part of the kind of men's team. You know, turnovers are a big problem. But now the women with racking up 8 early.
Pacific back to work on offense. Liz Smith on the outside. Dribble drive into the key. Kick it out. Here comes Lowry. Back out to James. 4 minutes to go in the quarter. James with 19 points. Has a sensational outing so far. Gets to the elbow. Kick it back out to Ward. Drives inside, and Colville will get the rebound off the miss, and it hung on the rim, and Colville couldn't handle the ball, and it goes out of bounds. She kind of caught it, and it's just started slipping through her fingers, and eventually goes out of bounds, and it's a Pacific possession with a fresh shot clock, because she did possess it for just enough to give Washington State a possession. And so Pacific will get the ball back with a fresh 30-second shot clock and a baseline inbounds. James to check it in. Entry pass down low. 3 Cougars there, and it's a jump ball. Great defense from Washington State, swarming the pass on the inbound.
Yeah, an amazing job of just kind of attacking the ball, like being a magnet towards it and getting that jump ball opportunity.
A little brief press shown by the Pacific Tigers. Alcina will bring it up the floor. Tahina gets a dribble handoff, asking for a screen. She'll dump it off to Alcina. Driving left hand, kick into the corner to Hina. Wide open, 3-pointer is good. Washington State with another 3. Take the lead by 6, 32-26 over the Pacific Tigers. Left wing, Lowry out to Smith. Pull-up jumper, off balance is good. That was a nice shot by Liz Smith. Jenna Villa, top of the key. With 3 minutes remaining, Washington State up 32-28. Tara Wallach on the elbow, looking for somewhere to go. Kick out to Jenna Villa. Drive it inside, kick out to Wallach. Behind the back, free throw line. Kick it to the corner. Alcina driving in. Elbow jumper of her own is no good, and a rebound for Pacific. She missed the rim, hit the other side of the backboard. Washington State comes up empty. Top of the key, Ward straightaway 3 is good. Nobody around her for Washington State. No closeout at all, and the lead's cut to 1. It's 32-31. Colville running the floor. Couldn't handle the pass off her fingertips, and Sarah Tahina threw the ball, and she's clapping her hands in frustration. She knows it was a little bit too high for even the 6'6" Colville to catch it. 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. Lauren Glazer into the game once again, as well as Daria Nesrov. She's into the game for the Pacific Tigers. 2 minutes and 19 seconds remaining. 32-31. Washington State in front. Liz Smith on the outside. Quick sidestep, 3-pointer on the way. That's pure for Liz Smith. That was an athletic move. She is a great point guard to watch. 34-32. Pacific has the advantage. Mendez into the game off the last substitution, and she travels as she just lost control of her body and the ball, and another turnover for Washington State.
Yeah, back to back. in that series, and turnovers now becoming a familiar tale for the Cougar women team.
34-32, Pacific has taken the lead right back. James, pull-up jumper on the left side, rims out, and Wallach pulls down the board for Washington State. Down by 2 to Pacific. Minute 45 remaining in the first half of play of this quarterfinal. Cougars trying to stay alive in this tournament with the right to play Portland on the line. Villa on the left side, drive in, hook pass out to Tahina in the corner, three-pointer off the rim, offensive rebound, Coville, and she will settle it out to the corner with Tara Wallach. We'll drive in and kick it out to Mendez, top of the key. And they'll get it way out with Tahina with 10 seconds to shoot, asking for a Coville screen. Going to get one on the right side. Drive it against Glazier. Pull-up jumper in the middle of the lane. Front rim, no good. Tapped around with the rebound. Ends up in the hands of Pacific, and they're racing the other way, up by 2 points. Pull-up jumper is off the rim, and a rebound for Ward inside against Mendez. A foul and an one for Pacific. Mendez couldn't get the rebound, and then she picks up the foul. And Kira Gardner will check into the game. Lowry will also come in. James will hit the bench to maybe capture an extra minute of rest. But Ward to the free throw line. Pacific up by 4 points. Washington State in trouble in this first half. Ward's first free throw of the game is good. Off that and one opportunity, she converts the old-fashioned three-point play. 37-32. It's a 13-3 run over the last 3.5 minutes for Pacific. Washington State down by 5. Gardner inside to Coville on the right block, spinning to the left hand inside, off the front of the rim, no good. Pacific with another rebound. And Liz Smith will bring it up the floor for the Tigers with 35 seconds to go, 20 seconds on the shot clock. What a first half from the Tigers, not backing down to the Cougars. Smith will drive inside, bounce pass to Ward, wayward, and it's into the corner, double team. She spins around and falls on the sideline, and it's a turnover on Pacific. Great defense from Washington State in the corner.
Yeah, I love to see players dive on the ground, get on the wood a little bit, and, try to make a play at the basketball. And usually good things happen when hard work is displayed. And now the Cougars going to get the basketball with 23 seconds left.
Washington State has missed their last 4 shots. 13-3 run over the last 4 minutes of this second quarter. 15 seconds to shoot. Washington State could hold for the last shot of the quarter if they so choose. Wallach, top of the key. 8 seconds to shoot. Back to Tahina, straight away, three-pointer on the way. That's good for Washington State with 3 seconds remaining. 1 second to go. Liz Smith, half-court heave, comes up way short. They cut the lead to 2 at the end of the half. Great shot from Esther Tahina with little momentum going in favor of Washington State. It's 37-35. Pacific does have the lead, but Josiah, a bit of a rough first half for Washington State on the defensive side, trying to contain Anaya James. What can we look forward to in the second half for maybe some halftime adjustments as Washington State tries to avoid going one and done in the tournament?
Yeah, Davis, I think really what we're going to kind of find out is how does WSU stop a couple of players, and that main one has to be Anaya James. Right now, I believe, we just a couple minutes ago, she had around 15 to 17, and she kept on heating, and now she's plus 20 in points in the first half. She averages 12, so she had a stellar first half performance. So I think stop her is going to be a really good one. And as well as, slowing down these other players like Liz Smith, who started to heat up and kind of feel herself a little bit. And then on the offensive side, really trying to focus on, getting the ball into maybe Colville's hands as well as Wallach, and just, try to compose yourself, stay calm. It's only a 2-point basketball game, and there's an entire half to be played. So yeah, we can't wait. We'll be here for all the action.
37-35, Pacific has the lead as we've hit the half. Washington State down by 2 in the quarterfinals of the 2025 WCC Tournament. We'll be back after the half. Josiah Frank will have the play-by-play, and we will take a break for the half. 2-point deficit for Washington State. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse.
We are right back in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, here at Orleans Arena for the second half of the Washington State Cougars women's basketball team versus the Pacific Tigers. I'm Josiah Frank. I'm with Davis Hagen right now. And Davis, before we get started with this second half, we have to talk about, Pacific right now leading the Cougs 37-35. And really, it has been all Anaya James. She has 19 in the first half. She averages 12 in the season. What do you think has been really the difference maker, and why does she have so many points right now in that first half?
Yeah, she's really confident, and that's why I think the biggest difference is that she's playing with a purpose instead of just randomly going out there to score. I think she's done a really good job staying within rhythm, and she's also taking the shots when she's open. She's shooting the threes really well. Transition three-pointers has been kind of her gem of a play so far, and she's done a really nice job. She's got 19 points, and she averages not that many in the first half. That's crazy. They play 10-minute quarters. The fact that she had 14 points before the first quarter was even said and done. It's really impressive to watch her play basketball. And on the other side for Washington State, to try to defend her, I think you just kind of have to limit her opportunities in transition. That's really been when she's had her opportunities come to fruition, when she can knock down those transition threes. So it'll be interesting to see what Washington State decides to do to try to take away her points, because she's got 19 right now, and that's a lot.
And Davis, right now, if you are head coach Cami Etheridge, what are you telling the Cougs right now to kind of compose themselves for what should be a competitive second half of basketball?
I think it's important to remember that there is another half of basketball to come. There's still 20 more minutes, and you're only down 2 points. You're down by one possession. After that, Esther Tahina straightaway three-pointer cut the lead to just 2 points. So you're really just one bucket away from tying the game, and then it's an entirely new game. The score is basically 0-0 at that point. So Washington State still has a lot of hope left in this game to try to move on. And the other fact, they haven't played since February 27th to kind of get those jitters out. And it's a tough environment to play in a tournament setting in a neutral site down in Las Vegas. There's a lot of eyes on you, a lot of bright lights. So I think Washington State's not exactly entirely thrilled with that first half performance, but there's a lot of hope going forward in this second half.
Yeah, we are so ready just to get ready for this second half. Pacific right now leading the Cougs 37-35. The buzzer is about to sound, and we're excited to get ready for some more basketball right now. For Pacific, kind of leading up the lineup, we have Anaya James again having that stellar first half performance with 19, as well as Sydney Ward. We also have for the Tigers, we have Radikai, Elizabeth Elliott. And then rounding off, we also have Sydney Ward. And then for the Cougs, we have Mendez, Vila, Wallach, Villa, and Tahina. And we are about to get started here, waiting for the ESPN broadcast, which is right in front of us. And we will get started with the second half.
We highlighted Tara Wallach in the open, and she's only had 4 points so far. So that's another thing that Washington State can look forward to. If she can get going and extend this opportunity for Washington State to continue to play, maybe she can have an even better first half tomorrow against Portland if they can beat Pacific today.
Ward to inbound into James. And Anaya James is going to bring up the rock for the Tigers. The Tigers are going to kind of swing it around. It's going to be Smith that's going to end up with it. She's going to try to carve into the lane, guarded by Vila. Loses track of it. Elliott's going to lose it, and Eleanor Vila is going to end up with it. Tahina right over to Wallach. She's going to drive right through the paint, throws up about a 5-footer, and adds 2 for the Cougs. We are at 37 all.
Yeah, and then immediately Tara Wallach scoring in the second half, taking it upon herself to try to get Washington State in front.
Smith swings it back over to Ward. Ward back over. It was Radikai that ended up with it, but there's going to be a foul on the ground, an offensive foul, a block, and it's going to be Cougar ball. Wallach to inbound. Tahina to bring it up. Bounce pass over to Vila. Handoff Mendez. She gives it right back to her. Vila trying to make something going for the Cougar offense. Tied 37 all. 9 minutes in this third quarter. The ball's going to be batted away. Stays gray ball. And it's going to be Cougar basketball on the baseline.
It was a good cut from Villa that time. Good attempt to pass it to her. The Pacific defense was in also a really good spot.
Tahina to Mendez, right back to her. Tahina, kick out over to Wallach. Walk over to Vila, back to Tahina, top of the key. 7 on the shot. Jenna Villa nearly loses it. 4 on the shot clock. She's got to hook up something. Tries to, but loses the basketball in the process, and Pacific's going to end up with it.
Washington State had 9 turnovers in that first half to Pacific's 8. That's something they got to work on as well in the second half, limiting those turnovers and extra possessions for the Tigers.
James bringing back up, gives it to Radikai, back over to Smith. Smith looking at Elliott. She's going to give it to Radikai in the post, guarded by Jenna Villa. Radikai still in the post, trying to signal someone to move. Ends giving it up to Ward. Fakes a 3, 10 on the shot clock. Back over to Smith. Smith now 5 on the shot clock, guarded by Vila. Uses a screen by Ward. Her shot is going to go up and in. Barely gets that mid-range jumper off for Smith. Tahina now on the other side for the Cougs. Pacific leading by 2. Jenna Villa into Mendez in the post. She's going to do a nice little reverse hand layup, and that's going to fall in. Now it's 39 all.
Good job by Mendez to recompose herself and get that reverse layup to go inside.
Smith over to Radikai. Radikai back over to Ward. Ward, she's going to give it over to Anaya James, leading scorer for the Tigers. James back over to Radikai. She's going to try to draw into the key. Misses long, and Mendez is going to end up with the board. Mendez now bringing up the rock for the Cougs. Nice little behind-the-back move, but Vila is going to end up with it. Gives it right back to her. Mendez looking for a handoff. Does give it to Tahina. Tahina driving to the lane. She's short on that right-handed layup. Couple outlet passes. Smith is going to end up with it. A beautiful little bounce pass over to Ward. She'll miss her lay, and Tahina's going to end up with it for the Cougs. Tahina over to Jenna Villa, 3-point specialist. This one is going to be front iron, no good. Rebound by Mendez, and she'll get fouled on the putback.
Great positioning from Mendez to get the rebound, and then she gets fouled again. A couple of times she's gotten hacked. She's missed these shots, but good free throw shooter for Washington State. She's been a sensational freshman for them all season long.
Checking to the game is Nia Lowry, who had seen about 14 minutes in the first half, and Mendez is at the charity stripe shooting 2. Cougs right now tied with Pacific, 39 all, 7-12 left in this third quarter. Mendez is first. She will knock down.
Fourth made free throw of the game for Mendez. Going to continue to probably shoot at the free throw line as she continues to battle in the post against the Tigers.
Mendez is second. She will hit nothing but nylon as well. Anaya James is going to end up with the ball for Pacific. Gives it over to Smith. Smith to Elliott in the post. A reverse hand layup, a beautiful move by Elizabeth Elliott. Adds 2 to Pacific. Tahina over to Tara Wallach, who's been slightly cold in the first half. Quick handoff to Vila. Vila back over to Tahina. Mendez will end up with it in the post. Trying to make something happen. Kicks it back over to Tahina. 14 on the shot. Tahina taking her time, trying to direct to traffic. Gives it to Jenna Villa. 3 ball in the corner. Rattles in and out. It'll be a rebound by Ward. Now James is going to fly down the hardwood. James is going to get it stolen away by Vila. Vila over to Wallach. They're going coast to coast. Back door. It's going to be swung over to Vila. Back to Mendez. She'll end up with it and finally put up a layup after that beautiful fast break appearance for the Cougs. Now on the flip side, we have Smith. Nearly loses the basketball for the Tigers. James trying to direct traffic, get something going. Lowry, guarded by Mendez. Tries to enter it into Ward, but it's kicked away. Will stay with Pacific.
Shot clock goes to 20 with exactly 6 minutes left. Washington State going to have to continue to defend. It's 43-41 now, but they've really got to lock in on the defensive side.
Nestorvo will check in for the Tigers, and she's going to also throw it in. She is on the left baseline. Nearly lose the violation, and Mendez is going to steal the ball from Pacific. Quick handoff to Tahina. Fast break over to Vila for the left-handed layup. That rattles out, and it almost looked like it was going to fall in, but doesn't. Nestorvo's going to bring up the rock. Looking for Ellie in the post, guarded heavily by Wallach. Looking to give it back to her, though. She does. Nestorvo working on Wallach in the post. Look to Elliott. Try to post entry to her. She's going to lose the basketball. complaining to the officials. It doesn't matter. It's going to be Cougar ball.
Yeah, both teams have turned it over a handful of times in this game. Both teams over double digits in the turnover department.
Cougs right now leading 43-41, 5:30 left in this third quarter. Vila for the Cougs, directing traffic, making some nice moves all the way to the gum, and she'll get called for an and one and go to the line.
Really nice play from Via, who's also kind of quiet in that first half. She picked up 2 early fouls and then just does a really nice job to keep her eyes right on the rim and get the and one.
The Tigers right now, they're going to take a timeout, and we're also going to take a little break as well. Right now, the Cougs 45, Pacific 41, 5:22 in this third quarter. You're listening to more Cougar basketball here on KUGR. We are right back with more Cougar basketball right now, waiting for the Washington State team to kind of get out of their timeout circle. Via's going to shoot one at the stripe, making a beautiful right-handed floater layup with an and one opportunity. Cougs right now leading the Pacific Tigers 45-41, 5:22 left in this third quarter. Both teams are lined up around the paint. Via's one. It is good. Cougs now leading by 5. Tigers are going to bring up the basketball. It's going to be Miss Storvo looking underneath to Smith, and she's going to miss that reverse layup. Going to be Gardner that ends up with it. Swings it right over to Wallach. Wallach, a quick handoff over to Tahina. Tahina trying to direct traffic, set up a play for the Cougs. A couple handoffs. She'll end up with it, top of the key. Looking at Colville, gives it to Wallach, who also looks at her. Wallach, left-handed layup, no good, gets her own rebound, tries to put it back up, and that's a second miss. Quick rebound by the Tigers. Nestorvo on the other side. Quick handoff. It's going to be Smith that ends up with it. Directing traffic, looking from a screen from Ward, uses the screen. Smith, she's going to hawk up a 17-footer, rattles off. Gardner with the rebound. Gardner gives it over to Asira Tahina, who's in double digits for the Cougs. Gives it back to her, looking to Colville, the 6'6" center. Colville back over to Gardner, but there's going to be a foul on the ground on the left side of the court. Looks to be on Ward. She's getting up really tenderly. No, it's actually going to be on Liz Smith. That's going to be her first personal. And now both teams are going back to their respective benches. And maybe the officials might be taking a peek at it.
I believe that Pacific is going to call a timeout. Pointed at him, said timeout Pacific. I think this is an important section of this game with Washington State up by 5. They have to be able to extend this lead out when Pacific has kind of gone a little bit cold. Washington State, this is the time they need to attack.
Washington State needs to attack, and attack now, has a 5-point lead right now with still 4 minutes into this third quarter. We're still kind of pretty early into the second half, but they need to extend this lead if they want to continue.
Absolutely. Well, they really want to play Portland tomorrow night. They got to continue to play good in this second half. They've taken the lead. They were down by 2 at the half. They're up by 5 at this point in the game, but this Portland Pilots team, watching both these teams play, they realize that they're a little bit both hot and cold at some times. Washington State started out pretty well. They were going back and forth with the Pacific Tigers, and they had a 4-minute drought in that later half of the first half when they didn't score a single field goal for over 4 minutes. And now Pacific is kind of starting to taper off. Have they maybe hit a wall as the number 17 playing a couple of games before Washington State even made their first appearance on the hardwood in Las Vegas?
As we take a little bit more time to discuss the media timeout, Davis, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about how Pacific right now, they only have scores from 4 individual players right now. Elliott has 6, James has a commanding 19, Ward with 6, and Smith with 10 herself, and that's totaling to right now 41 points. And on the Cougs side, it's kind of spread across the scorer sheet with everyone but Alcina and Shu adding points to the scores table. How do you think that's kind of playing effect in this game?
I think it's important for Washington State to continue to only have those 4, maybe even a 5th player for the Pacific Tigers score. If you can hold those 4 players in check the rest of the way and nobody else has even scored a bucket by the time the game gets into the later stages, if they can't look to any of those 4 players, who are they going to look to? We're not really sure because nobody else has even scored a bucket. I think it's also important for Pacific to know that those are the hot players and you got to go to them, especially James. He's had a sensational evening so far. But I will say on the other side for Washington State, spreading the wealth is very important. Even though some of these players might be a little bit quiet, like Elavia or Tara Wallach, they can also heat up at any point, especially if they continue to know that they do have points and that they don't have 0 points going into the fourth quarter. Their mentality can probably have a little more confidence going into that fourth quarter, knowing that they have put a couple points on the score sheet. But another important stat is that the bench points for Washington State is at 11 to Pacific 0. So if the starters for Pacific start to taper off, who else is going to score? Right now, it's nobody for the Tigers. They've got 0 bench points. Washington State has definitely had a better ability to spread the wealth in this game.
And the timeout is starting to trickle to the end right now. Pacific on the ground right now in their all orange, and the Cougs in their grays, finishing up with their timeout, and they are going to make it back onto the court. There was a foul on the ground. It was on Liz Smith. And now Tahina's going to inbound the basketball for the Cougs. Tahina is going to heave it over to Wallach. Looks at Colville in the post. Gives it to her. A little right-handed jump hook. No good left iron. Smith is going to end up with it. Looking to direct traffic. Gives it off to Ward. Gives it right back to her. Looks at Nestorvo. Nestorvo, she's going to drive to the cup. Doesn't do it. Kicks it back out to Ward. Thinks about a 3. She will do it. Front iron. Board will be from Colville. Couple pass arounds for the Cougs. Tahina's going to end up with it, though, at the top of the key. 20 on the shot, and they're going to try to set up something. Tahina looking at Wallach in the post. Gives it to Gardner, right wing. Wallach's going to eventually end up with it. Trying to face up Anaya James, and she will with a nice turnaround basket with the right hand. Adds 2 for the Cougs, 48-41, and we are nearing 3 minutes in this third quarter. James bringing up the rock for the Tigers. Guarded heavily by Gardner. Gives it over to Nestorvo. Over to War. She's at the left elbow. Thinks about a handoff. Doesn't do it. James is going to end up with it. 8 on the shot clock, and they are taking their time. Now 5. Anaya James. A little up and under move. No good. The board will be from Gardner. Quick outlet to Tahina. Tahina maybe looking at Colville in the post. The 6'6", trying to get her going again. Wallach tries to give it to her. It's batted away, and it's going to be Smith that ends up with it. Smith, quick bounce pass over to Nestorvo, and she's going to put in a left-handed layup on the right-handed side. Cuts the Cougar lead down to 5.
Yeah, that ended a scoring drought for Pacific of over 4.5 minutes.
Wallach now with the basketball, crossing over the WCC logo to set up another play for the Cougs. Couple handoffs. Wallach still has it. Looking for a screen by Colville. Uses it. She'll pop a 3. Air ball, no good. Rebound Smith. Quick outlet over to James. James throws up a floater in transition, and that's going to fall. And now what was a 7-point lead is now cut down to 3 for the Cougs. And Etheridge, Tammy Etheridge is going to take a timeout for Washington State. She's pretty fired up, and Davis probably rightfully so. What was a little bit of a lead, it looked like the Cougs have been kind of letting up a little bit within those last 2 minutes. What did you see there?
Well, with Washington State and Pacific going at it, the Tigers had a 4-minute scoring drought, and Washington State was only able to get their lead up to 7 points, which is not nearly enough to feel comfortable in any sort of fashion. Now they're only up by 3 points. That's how fast basketball leads can kind of slip away, especially with Anaya James on the other side, who can absolutely put in a bucket from anywhere. Just 21 points on the evening. She seemed like she was stuck at 19, but now she might get going again, and that's all it takes is one bucket to get in the hoop, and now she's going to be hot again, hopefully, for the Tigers. And on the other side for Washington State, you have to be able to stop James. Nobody else is contributing much other than James. She's been the leader of the pack for the Pacific Tigers, and you have to stop her.
The Cougs right now still leading by 3, 48-45, a minute 51 left. Via's going to inbound the basketball for the Cougs. Gives it to Wallach. Thought about a screen by Colville. Villa is going to use that screen by Colville. Gives it back over to Wallach. Swings it over to Gardner. Corner 3 ball. And that one is going to fall through the circle. The Tigers now bringing it up with Nestorvo. Looking to hand off. She doesn't do it. Guarded by Villa. Looking at Lowry. Does give it to her. Back over to Anaya James. James looking for a screen by Elliott. Uses it. Thinks about a 3. Nearly travels, but it's going to be intercepted by Villa. Villa going coast to coast and nearly makes the layup. A great rebound by Alex Scoville. Puts it back up, but will be fouled off of her miss.
Yeah, she got slammed on the arm as she went back up with that. And the 6'6" Colville has had an impact in this game that hasn't been as best as she maybe has in the past, but I think she's probably wanting to heat up as she goes through this game. She's such a big factor of this team. Hopefully she can get going in the second half.
51-45, 1:10 left in this game. Colville's first, she will knock down, extends the lead to 7. Colville's second. Falls through as well. And now it is an 8-point lead for the Cougs as Colville and Tahina will check out. Abraham and Mendez will check in for the Cougs. James to bring up the rock. She's going to cross the division line. Looks back over to Ward. Ward's going to end up with it and give it to Lowry. Back over to James, top of the key, guarded by Abraham. She's going to slash through the lane and get fouled by Abraham on a right-handed floater, and she'll go to the strike.
Yeah, you can't allow James to get to the free throw line to get free points. She's already torching you in the regular system. You can't have her going to the free throw line.
Washington State right now with just 1 total foul in this quarter. A substitution. Lauren Glazier is going to check into the basketball game. 57 seconds left in this third quarter. James's first free throw, she's going to add to her huge total. Now makes it a 53-46 ball game, 57 seconds left. James's second adds and continues to her expressive score sheet. Via's going to end up with it for the Cougs. Final minute of this third quarter. Via's hounded by three Tiger players. Garner's going to end up with it. 3-ball, no good. Quick rebound by Nestorvo. The Tigers trying to scream up court a little bit. We are nearing 30 seconds. Wallach is going to steal that pass, though. It doesn't matter. And now it's a fast break opportunity for the Cougs. Wallach nearly loses it. Abraham's going to huck up a three. No good. Rebound Via. Thought about another three. Doesn't do it. Gardner's going to go baseline, though. And right to the cup. Thought maybe a foul. She's going to fall on the hardwood. It doesn't matter. And Garner's going to add two for the Cougs. 13 seconds left for the Tigers. Couple handoffs. It's going to be Anaya James. Bounce out to Elliott. No good. It's going to be a quick rebound over by Glazier. Rattle off the ground, and it doesn't matter. Off of that miss, the buzzer's going to sound, and that's going to be the end of the third quarter. Cougs right now still leading 55-47.
Yeah, good end to that third quarter for Washington State to get that lead back up to 8 points. They have to be able to hold on to this lead, though. Pacific is a team that can get hot, especially with Anaya James, the way she's been playing, cannot take anything for granted as they head to the fourth quarter.
Anaya James right now with 23 points by herself. Just reminding listeners, she averages 12 a game, and she'd already beaten that with her first quarter total. We're going to take a short break and come back with the final quarter of this basketball game. You are listening to more WCC Tournament basketball here on KUGR. Welcome back to beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada for the final quarter and duration of this WCC tournament game. I'm Josiah Frank. I'm with Davis Hagen right now. Washington State is leading 55-47, and we are started with the fourth quarter. Via's going to end up with it, guarded by Nestorvo. Via, quick kick out over to Gardner. Gardner guarded heavily by Lori. She's going to huck up a midi, and that's going to fall through. That's 2 for the Cougs. Now they have a 10-point lead. Elliott now in the post, guarded by Wallach. Wallach's going to foul her, and now she's going to go to the line.
Tara Wallach, the player we highlighted in the open, the first team all WCC player. She's got to get going on offense for the Cougars if they want to continue to extend this 10-point lead that they've built over the Pacific Tigers.
Yeah, right now Wallach with only 8 points. She's averaging close to 14. And now Elliott, she's going to be at the stripe. One of the few players that have scored for Pacific. Her first is going to rattle off. Elizabeth Elliott, one of the trio of Pacific players getting WCC honors. Her second free throw. That one's going to be good. She's going to now have 7. And a couple new Pacific players are going to check in. One of them being Liz Smith, one of the nation's best in steals. Villa is going to just throw away the basketball. It's going to be Radikai. Radikai's going to go to the cup. And another foul by Wallach. That's going to be her second personal. Now Radikai is going to go to the line and shoot 2. Hasn't seen a ton of minutes and definitely not scored a ton of night for the Tigers. But now she has an opportunity to cut this 9-point Cougar lead down to 7. 9:24 this ball game. Her first one's no good, front iron. Cougs already wrapping up with 2 team fouls early in this fourth quarter, and the second one's going to be an air ball.
Yeah, fortunate for Washington State that Radikai not able to convert on those free throw attempts when they foul the Tigers, given those chances to score with the clock stopped, especially as this game winds down. Still a lot of time left in the game, but cannot afford to keep doing that.
Tahina bringing up the rock for the Cougs, guarded by Radikai. Gives it over to Wallach, back to her. Tahina trying to carve it to the lane, goes baseline, quick kicks out to Gardner, nearly loses the basketball. 14 on the shot clock. Tahina fakes a 3, and they're going to call her for, I believe, a travel.
A lot of travels have been called on Washington State today. Wallach has had a number of them when she tries to spin, and another one called on Tahina.
Glazier the inbound. She's going to give it to James. James quick off to Nestorvo. Into Elliott, but it's going to be intercepted by Tara Wallach. She thought she was kind of hit on that play. She's going to calm down the Cougar offense and bring up the basketball across half court. Now Villa's going to end up with it. A quick kickoff over to Gardner, who had that one corner 3. Thought about another one. The ball's batted away. It's going to stay Cougar basketball. 57-48 game, 8:39 left in this final quarter. Win or go home in this WCC tournament. Tahina to inbound, over to Gardner. 10 on the shot clock. Got to get something going soon. Gardner thought about a mid-range, kicks it back over to Wallach. Wallach now into the paint. She's driving and airballs the layup. James is going to end up with it for the Tigers. James driving her way into the lane, and that's also going to be another missed layup. And Mendez thought she had the rebound stolen. James is going to get it back, and Anaya James is going to add another 2 for her score sheet. Now it's a 57-50 ball game. Cougs are leading by 7, 8:05 left in this game. Tahina going to give it over to Wallach, top of the key. She'll get it back, though. Nearly stolen away, but regains control. Wallach, quick handoff to Gardner, guarded heavily by Smith. Gives it to Mendez. She'll throw up a long 2. It's going to be no good. Quick board by Elliott. Now James on the other side, screaming up the court. Quick handoff to Nestorvo, but she's going to get called for a travel before she throws up a 3.
Yeah, she never put the ball on the ground. She took a couple of ready steps. She got ready for her shot, and she just took 1, 2, 3 too many steps, and that's going to be a travel every single time. She's had a couple of plays that is not really seem like she is comfortable in these type of situations. She had one on the baseline early in the first half where she almost started to run, even though it wasn't a made shot. She almost had the violation, and then she just travels right there.
James and Elliott are going to sit for the Tigers as Lowry and Ward are going to check in. Via guarded heavily by Liz, and she's going to get the ball stolen away from her. Now it's the Tigers on the other end. Quick by Lori. She's going to drive all the way to the cup, and now the Cougs lead is dwindled down to 5. 7:18 left in this fourth quarter. Abraham, who is checked into the basketball game, hands off to Tahina. Tries to slow down the Tigers' momentum. After that fast break steal, Wallach now at the top of the key. Quick handoff to Tahina. 10 on the shot clock. Kova's going to set a screen. Now Tahina's going to huck up a three. Nothing but nylon. Nostrovo now on the other side, trying to set up something for the Tigers. Liz Smith looking back over to Glazier. Glazier back over to Lowry. Lowry's going to drive to the cup. A great block by Alex Scoville. Outlet Tahina. Tahina now to Abraham. Thought about a three, doesn't do it. Now it's over to Alex Colville in the post. She thought about post move. Another couple kicks out for the Cougs. Via's going to end up with it. 15 on the shot clock. Hand off to Tahina. Back turn. Trying to get out of Nestorvo's way. She's going to drive right to the cup. A floater, no good. Gets her own rebound. Resets the shot clock. Now the Cougs have another offensive opportunity. 60-52 ball game. 6 minutes left in this final quarter. Wallach, top of the key. Hand off to Abraham, right back to her. Abraham's going to get it right back. She's going to huck up about a 10-footer. It's off the rim, no good. Alex Colville went up for the rebound, doesn't get it. Lowry's going to end up with it. Now Smith is going to have the ball for the Tigers. Thought about a three, doesn't do it. Rostovo drawing baseline, pivots out, but kicks it right back over to Liz Smith. Now there's 10 on the shot clock. Looking for a screen by Lowry. Uses it. Looked at Ward, doesn't do it. Liz Smith's going to huck up a shot, and it's going to be an air ball. Colville's going to end up with a board. Tahina, quick pass to Abraham. Back to Tahina. Looks for a screen by Colville, uses it. She's at the top of the key, not usually a three-point shooter. Abraham now with the basketball. Looking at Villa, nearly 10 on the shot clock. 5 minutes left in this game. The Cougs are leading 60-52. And Wallach tried to entry it into the post to Alex Colville. It's going to be batted away. Saves Cougar ball, and Anaya James is going to check back into the game for Liz Smith, who hasn't done a ton for offensive production, but Anaya James certainly has. Now Tahina's on the right baseline. Tahina's going to inbound the basketball, but there's going to be a timeout by Kami Etheridge and the Cougar staff.
Yeah, it seems like Tara Wallach has gone a little quiet, and she's gone almost a little tentative on the outside. She's had a couple of plays where it looks like she wants to drive in, and then she ends up just passing it out. She's got to be able to take that for herself. Esther Tahina's doing a really good job, but it can't all be Tahina.
Cannot be all Tahina for sure. Mendez is going to check into the scores table, and we're going to take a little bit of a break for the rest of this full timeout. It is a 60-52 ball game with the Cougars having the advantage. You're going to listen to more Cougar basketball here on KUGR. We are right back here in Orleans Arena for a great matchup between the Washington State Cougars and Pacific Tigers right now. The Cougars right now are leading 60-52, 5:01 left. And Davis, I wanted to talk about before we end this time out. Right now, the Pacific Tigers are shooting 6 from 11 from the free throw line. That's 54%. How is that playing a factor in this kind of tight game?
Yeah, it's not a great stat for the Pacific Tigers, who are trying to claw their way back into this game. And if they want to score when the time stops, they got to make the free throws. They're only shooting 50%.
Tahina's going to inbound for the Cougs. 5 minutes. Mendez is going to end up with it. Tries to huck up about a 4-footer. It's going to be no good. Ward is going to end up with the rebound. Nestorvo, who has seen a ton of minutes tonight, but Liz Smith is at the scorer's table. She's going to try to facilitate the offense. Gives it into Elizabeth Elliott in the post. Her right-handed jump hook, no good. And Mendez and Elliott both fall down, fighting for the rebound. Wallach's going to end up with it. A beautiful little Smith move to a gorgeous dime for Villa. Adds 2 for the Cougs. Now it is a 10-point lead for them. Elliott now on the other end, back into the post. That one will fall down and cuts the lead to 8. Nearing 4 minutes left in this game. Wallach, the lone senior for the Cougs, hands it off to Mendez. Looking for Tahina, will give it to her. Looks back over to Mendez. She thought about a 15-footer, doesn't do it. 10 on the shot clock. Tahina's got to make something happen in. Hucks up a shot and one opportunity. An amazing shot by Tahina. Draws contact, and she will go to the line to shoot 1. Extends the Cougar lead to 10.
Great job by Tahina. She's been doing everything for Washington State in this game. By far the best player on the floor in Anthracite.
Lowry will check out. Smith will check in. Smith will check in. That free throw she will knock down for Tahina. James is going to bring up the rock for the Tigers. James looking to her right. Tigers kind of in confusion about what kind of set, and the Cougars are noticing it and kind of hounding on defense. Now we're nearing 3:30 left in the game. Cougs are leading by 11. It's going to be stolen away by Mendez. Mendez now on the fast break. She's going to go coast to coast. The 6'3" forward freshman is going to add 2 to her score sheet. Now James on the other side gives it quickly over to Elliott. And she's going to miss that layup. It's V on the other side. She's racing down the court. A quick foul by Anaya James. And now Eleanor Villa will get fouled, and that foul will be on the hardwood. Second team foul for the Tigers.
Great play by Diana Mendez. Coast to coast, 6'3" forward freshman. Does a really nice job. She's been great all season. And Washington State with a good run. 3 of their last 3 from the field. Really good run to extend the lead up to 13, trying to put the Tigers away.
Abraham to inbound, 3:15 left in the fourth quarter. Wallach and the Cougs leading by 13. Tahina now has it. Swings it back over to Villa, top of the key. A great bounce pass over to Abraham, but it's going to be batted away and stolen. Inevitably, James is going to end up with it, and her and Tahina are going to kind of wrap up together around the basketball. A jump ball, but it's going to favor the Tigers in possession. And now Ward's going to inbound over to James. For the Tigers, if they want to get something going, they got to start kind of now. Tigers just passing it around the three-point line. Oh, my goodness, and a hard foul. And it looks to be Liz Smith. She's going to get fouled hard. And Abraham didn't really think so, but she fell on the ground pretty hard. Foul on the ground, though, will stay with Pacific.
Abraham decked her on that play. It was a really hard screen. Abraham, really good freshman as well. This international flavor, and these freshmen have done a really good job for Washington State this season.
James to inbound. She's going to give it to Elliott, guarded by Wallach in the post. Couple post move and a nice reverse hand layup for Elizabeth Elliott. She's going to be in double digits now. Now Wallach has it. 2:45 left in this game. Cougars leading 67-56. Tahina now has the basketball. the tempo's definitely picked up in this game, and the arena's starting to liven up as well. If Pacific is trying to make a comeback, they have to do it quick. Mendez now, 10 on the shot clock. She's going to put up a long 2, and that one is going to be good. Diana Mendez, the true freshman, hooks up another 2. Now Nursova on the other side loses track of the basketball off her foot. Will be Cougar ball. And now it is a 13-point game with just 2:18 left in this fourth quarter. Now Tahina's going to end up with it. Tahina bounce pass over to Abraham. Thought about driving, doesn't do it. Gives it to Mendez, who's been hot. Back over to Wallach. See if she can get something going. She's guarded heavily by Ward. Wallach thought about a shot, didn't do it. Now Mendez, the freshman, for 3. No good. Tahina thought about the rebound. She didn't grab it. Now it's going to be Anaya James on the other side. A beautiful bounce pass to Ward. We are within 2 minutes. Ward, cross-court pass over to Nasorbo into Elliott in the post, and now she's fouled, and she will go to the line for 2.
Again, Pacific just shooting around 50% from the free throw line. Not a terrible thing for Washington State to send them at this point, but you don't want to continue to foul this team with the time stopped. That's the biggest factor. The time is on the Washington State side. Time is definitely not on the side for Pacific, trying to make up 13 points in just over 1 minute and 45 seconds.
Abraham to take a breather on the bench, and Alcina's going to check into the ball game. Elliott now at the line for 2. Big free throws for Pacific. The first one is going to rattle off. Chu also at the scorer's table, going to check in, presumably for one of the guards. Elliott second. Probably has to go in. We are within 2 minutes of the final quarter. It does rattle in for her. And now Chu's going to check into the game. She's going to give Tahina a breather. 1 minute 48. The Cougs are leading by 12. And a couple more buckets could secure a dub. Alcina back over to Tahina. There's a press, but it's broken quickly by the Cougs. Villa now on the other side. She's driving to the cup. And there's going to be an offensive foul, maybe a moving screen by Mendez. Yeah, but it's going to be on Mendez. Now it's going to be Pacific ball. 1:42 left, 69-57 game, WSU leading. James to bring it back, gives it over to Ward. The Tigers kind of in a hurry. Now it's Liz Smith driving to the cup. Quick kick out over to Anaya James, corner 3. That one's going to fall through.
That's the one player you cannot leave open for Washington State. James has had such a great game.
Now it is a 9-point game. Mendez trying to break the press, and Chu is going to try to break the press, double teamed. And there's a call on the official whistle. It's going to stay Cougar basketball.
Washington State got the timeout. Great job.
A great call by the veteran, Cami Etheridge, who has just had tons and tons of experience in basketball. You know, they had those 3 teams that made it to the tournament in 3 consecutive years. Also with that 22-23 Pac-12 tournament win. So Cami Etheridge is a great of the coaching staff, and calling a 30 right there, that's just a veteran move for sure.
Yeah, the ball's trapped up in the coffin corner in the top corner. There's the sideline, there's the half-court line, there's 2 defenders around Jean Chu, and she does a really good job to call the timeout and help out her players. Kind of the best thing you can do as a coach is bail out your players in that situation. You don't want to get a turnover, especially with the game coming down to the wire. Minute 18 to go, 9-point lead. You do not want to give Pacific an easy 2, so you definitely want to take those timeouts, save the possession, and save the live ball turnover possibly that could result in 2 points for the Pacific Tigers, and maybe even more after that, because momentum could probably switch if you turn it over right at half court.
The first horn is buzz. And both teams are going to come out of the timeout. Wallach to inbound. Looks at Villa. Doesn't give it to her. 3. Got to get it in. And a great pass over to Alcina for the layup. And that one will go through for her. That's 2. And now the Cougar lead is at 11. And the clock is continuing to go down. The ball kind of got fumbled into the cheerleaders. Now we are nearing a minute for Pacific. It's going to be Liz Smith. She's going to kick it out over to James. James is going to huck up a shot. That one's going to rattle through, and she has had a night. That's going to be 30 for Anaya James. Now Alcina on the other end gives it over to Chu, kind of hurrying the passes, and it's nearly stolen away. Mendez will end up with it. 45 seconds left in this game. Gives it to Via for a beautiful, easy, open layup down in the paint. And now it's kind of do or die for the Tigers. We are nearing 40 seconds. Norsovo, the Cougs leading by 11. Ward's going to huck up a three. He's got to go in. It doesn't. Wallach tries to grab the rebound. She doesn't. And it looks to be, there's going to be a foul actually on the ground.
Yeah, foul on Elliott on the rebound opportunity. Wallach was battling with her down in the post. And Tara Wallach, even though she hasn't had the best game, she still had a good presence for the Cougars. And if the score would hold, she would hopefully have a better opportunity tomorrow against Portland to advance her opportunities, as she's such a great player for the Washington State Cougars. Definitely not her best performance.
Cougars are going to inbound. Geneville's back into the game. They lose the basketball, though. And now it's going to be Ward that ends up with it on the other side. They need something quick. Norsovo's going to cut through the lane, gives it over to Elliott. Now it's 20-second ball game. It's going to be Anaya James hucks up a three. It's going to be no good. Rebound, Genevilla, and that should do it. Genevilla, now it's 10 seconds, and that's going to be your ball game. 73-62, and Washington State's going to move on to the semifinals tomorrow. Astira Tahina being the leading scorer for the Cougs, 18 points. She went 3 from 6 from behind the arc. A great game for her, and we will see how that will translate into tomorrow's game.
Yeah, she had a really, really nice game. Stepped up in kind of a quiet day for Tara Wallach, a quiet day for Ellie Villa. Really good job by Tahina. Kind of put the team on her back in that second half, and she had that clutch three-pointer at the end of the first half that kind of flipped the momentum back for Washington State, that cut the lead from 5-2, and they end up getting the 11-point win. And it should be a really good matchup tomorrow against the Portland Pilots, the 3 seed and the 2 seed. Really good job by Washington State to get their first win. They hadn't played since February 27th, yet they get the win in this one. Fantastic performance by everybody involved.
Yeah, before we talk about that matchup with Portland, I really have to mention Anaya James. You know, she averages 12, and she had another stellar performance tonight with 30 points. Just a phenomenal performance on her part, but it was sadly not enough for the Washington State Cougars and their offense. They will play Portland tomorrow in that semifinal, and we will be calling that right here in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. And Davis, anything you are excited for to see in that semifinal matchup?
Yeah, it's going to be a great matchup between the 2 seed Portland and the 3 seed Washington State. It should be a real test for if Washington State has had enough time off, and then this game to get right back into the fold of things. It kind of started slowly for them in that first half. They did a good job to stay with Pacific, who was coming off a game yesterday against St. Mary's where they played really well. They were playing hot, and Washington State was able to weather that storm and get back into the game in the second half and end up winning it by 11 points. So they should be fresh and ready to go against Portland tomorrow, and it's going to be a fantastic matchup. That's probably going to be one of the best games of the entire tournament, no matter if it's the men's or the women's side of the bracket. It's going to be a really good matchup between the purple and the crimson.
We cannot wait to call more Cougar basketball, and kind of looking at the rest of the schedule today, we will be back with you calling the quarterfinal of Pepperdine and Santa Clara. And then later tonight, our men's team, they're going to take on San Francisco to have a shot to make it to the semifinal as well. But that's going to do it right now. It's going to be another Cougar win. Washington State's women's team's going to win this one 73-62 here in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm Josiah Frank. I'm with Davis Hagen, and you are listening to more WCC Tournament basketball here on KUGR.